But we begin tonight with the incoming Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, who has unveiled the team that will help her run the country. A mix of ministers from Labour, New Zealand First and the Greens, of course. She announced the new lineup at Parliament this morning. We will talk to Grant Robertson live on the programme next. There weren't too many surprises, but Ms Ardern has signalled a new focus in several areas through portfolio allocations. Our political reporter Sarah Robertson has more.
As expected, senior Labour MPs took the high-profile and big-spending portfolios. Grant Robertson will be Finance Minister, Chris Hipkins, Minister for Education, David Clark, Health Minister, Carmel Sepuloni, Minister for Social Development, and Phil Twyford, Minister of Housing and Urban Development. With housing a major priority, Jacinda Ardern has brought it back into one portfolio after the national government split it between three different ministers.
Mr Twyford will be working alongside the Minister for Building and Construction, Jenny Salise, an Auckland-based MP who, equally working across South Auckland, has an acute interest, understanding and empathy around the housing issue. She also holds an associate role, so together both Jenny Salise and Phil Twyford will be delivering what is a very ambitious building program.
Ms Ardern will take on arts, culture and heritage and responsibility for child poverty reduction. She says she's accepted as Prime Minister she can't take on a large operational portfolio like Minister for Children.
I did not want to relinquish, however, the strong focus I want this government to maintain on child poverty. So I will ensure that focus remains by holding responsibility for child poverty reduction.
Meanwhile, the Ministry for Primary Industries in its current form is gone. Ms Ardern says instead there will be three separate ministers.
We'll be separating out the functions of fisheries. Our strong view that there are a range of indicators that there are issues and dysfunction in the ministry that needs to be worked through. We also want to separate out forestry. That was part of our campaign platform, an independent separate forestry service, and of course that leaves agriculture.
New Zealand First has four cabinet ministers. Winston Peters is Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, Ron Mark has Defence and Tracy Martin is the Minister for Children. Shane Jones also takes on a hefty workload with forestry and infrastructure and the new Regional Economic Development portfolio, with oversight of a new $1 billion Regional Development Fund.
We're going to use it for neglected provincial infrastructure projects, not the least of which, some which will be rail. There's already been a host of requests on my cell phone from regional airports and a variety of other things.
The Greens have three ministers outside Cabinet and the leader, James Shaw, says his MPs are delighted with the portfolios they've been allocated.
In climate change, in relation to the 3,000 species that are facing extinction, they will now have a fighting chance, I think. In relation to people facing domestic and sexual violence, they will have someone to fight their corner in a way that I don't think that we've seen before.
Mr Shaw will be the Minister for Climate Change and Statistics Minister. Eugenie Sage holds the Conservation portfolio and Julianne Genter will be Minister for Women, as well as having the Associate Transport role. Jan Logie will be Under Secretary to the Justice Minister on domestic and sexual violence issues. The new ministers will be sworn in tomorrow at a ceremony at Government House in Wellington. Atu i te whare parimata mo te hōtaka o te ahi, ko Sarah Robertson, aho.